Okay, this is Suksuk in Spain, and I'm here with her, Claudia. Okay, I forgot her last name, but she's with me. And she's my fourth interviewee, and I'm very happy to see her because I happened to see her in a place I have been thinking about coming here. But anyway, let her introduce herself. Hello, Claudia.
Hello, my name is Claudia Herfurt. I was born in Berlin and I now live in Hawaii. And I feel very lucky to live in Hawaii, to be here, and to have met Sue.
Thank you for that comment. Very sweet. And I know that you've been biking here in Camino, and just tell me your plan here in Camino.
Well, I only am biking 3 days from Burgos to Leon, and I figured it's a meseta and it's flat, but today was not flat. I had to push my bicycle up a big, big hill. It was also very sunny, and the roads are full of big, big rocks, so I have to be very focused. But I walked the first part from Saint Jean Pied de Port to Burgos, and I will continue walking after Leon. I hope to end up in Santiago.
Do you know when will be the date?
No, I'm gaining time and flexibility by being on the bicycle for 3 days, so I can take it easy, and I also want to go to Finisterre if I can.
Are you going to go Finisterre by bicycle or on foot?
Bus!
That's very smart. I've done by bus 8 years ago, so that was good because after Santiago you kind of lost your spirit in a way. So it's easier to get the bus, and I think it's very wise to get the bus. But anyway, good luck to you. But okay, I was asking you to be your interviewees because I was quite a shock to hear your age. I'm sorry to mention, but I mean, you're very marvel. No, no, no. I'm just saying you're marvelous because you're physically fit. And my mom is 84, and so you are on a bike and you are on a foot in Camino. That tells me something, and I feel like my mom can do that if I can give her advice in advance. But now it's hard. So okay, just tell me about that thing.
Well, it's a challenge, and I like to be challenged. I live on an island in the middle of the Pacific, a Hawaiian island, and I've always been very physical. I've been to Everest Base Camp, Annapurna Circuit. I've hiked in the Swiss mountains in New Zealand, and I've sailed around the world. So I'm very active, and I do challenge myself, but not in a way of competition. So I came up with this crazy idea to hike the Camino. I love Europe because I am European. I was born in Berlin. And I like the culture, the history, and meeting people from all over like you. And I mean, people are literally from everywhere. Iceland. I've seen somebody from Nepal, people from South America. They're from everywhere, people of all ages, and it's a wonderful adventure.
I can tell it's a blessing because I've been experiencing it after working Camino 8 years ago. So now I'm with you. But thing is, when you introduce yourself, you did a tremendous adventure, and which one person cannot just do it. I mean, it seems like a 3, 4 person did it. Like mention your adventures in the life, and you are still on the adventure, and so I have a great respect for you. What keeps you going like this?
Well, I live in a very, very healthy environment. I even call it, I live in a bubble. The world is going crazier by the day, but living on an island in the middle of the Pacific, even though the U.S. has a big military there and two crazy people are trying to war with each other.
Is it the person our Korean?
You're Korean and our Trump, you know, they're both out of their head, out of their mind. They're both crazy. We need diplomacy. But I swim a lot in the Pacific. You won't find me in a swimming pool. I hike a lot. I eat organic food, and I think my German genes contribute. So it's many factors. And I'm very blessed in my life. I consider myself quite spiritual, not religious. I'm not Catholic, but I have a good life, and my family lives on Kauai, and my life is also very peaceful. I live by myself. I've been single forever. I never imagined I would be single. Some man is missing out, but he never showed up. Okay.
But we cannot just get away from your story, not mentioning World War, I think, in the past. And would you like to share the story? Because I'm not the generation of remembering World War II. So it's very intriguing, and I'm very happy to find you because you can share the experience because you've been there, you know, in the center of the world history. So maybe you can share that story again with me.
Yeah, the World War II started in September of 1939, and I was born on October 39, so literally at the very beginning of World War II. And I was in Berlin the whole time. I remember the bombs coming down. I remember the Russians coming in, and they were quite barbaric, raping women right and left. So I have a lot of memories. The times were very tough. We were, without food and shelter. We got bombed out. And it really didn't begin to get better until 1953. So it was a very long time to recover and remove all the ruins. But I think it builds character. So in Germany, since we had nothing much to fall back on, we put a big emphasis on culture and education, and I got a very good high school education in Berlin, 13 years, every Saturday. So that was wonderful, and I'm always lucky in life. I come out smiling and happy, and I had a scholarship to come to America. My parents were not too happy about that, and I stayed in America. I went to America in '62. Another thing that happened in post-war Berlin is, well, and another thing I forgot to mention, in my family there were Jews and Aryan people, Nazis and Jews. So, there was always a lot of conflict going on. My grandmother's name is Betty Moses, so it doesn't get any more Jewish than that. And my mom, because I was part Jewish, managed to put me in a program that the Scandinavian countries had sponsored. And in '48, just a little girl, 8 years old, I was sent to Norway, and some church and people had sponsored the program, and for 3 months I lived in Norway, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. They fed me and they clothed me, and actually my parents did not recognize me after 3 months when I came back. But the train station had no light, so I make an excuse for that. And they invited me again in 1950, so I spent 6 months in a beautiful rural place in Norway. And then at 53, things got better in Germany, and I remember it as a happy time. Like, you're just so happy when all the war is over and when the city gets built up again. Unfortunately, the city was divided, and I ended up on the lucky side. I was in the British sector, but we didn't distinguish too much between French, American, and British. It was West and East. Yeah, so, and then in '62 I came to America. I had a scholarship to go to a college in South Carolina. I fell in love to a crazy, handsome, brilliant man, and that was really, well, he really doesn't have his life together. But I have 2 beautiful sons, and I've had a very rich life. I've traveled the world. I love to travel. I consider myself a seasoned world traveler and sailor. I've sailed about 36,000 miles the world over. So
God, because the sea is people cannot control the weather and the condition. How could you do that? And how could you plan that to do?
well, when I was in America, I had the opportunity. I didn't have any money. I had the opportunity to return to Germany in '63, and I met some people from Germany that were sailing back to Germany, and I had never been on a sailboat, and it took 30 days. We had a major hurricane mid-Atlantic, which lasted 5 days and 5 nights, and it was Hurricane Bertha. So it turned me on to sailing. It was a big adventure, but it was also scary. We sailed from Maryland to France, to Cherbourg. So so nothing can intimidate anymore. That was really, really, really scary. Yeah, a major hurricane.
Right. So maybe after experiencing that major thing, you maybe not be afraid of anything.
No, I don't think I'm all that afraid of a lot of stuff. Not of a nuclear missile from North Korea or not from some other horrible thing that the president. But then again, you know, like when you're my age, I'm kind of happy I'm not young anymore. Although I would love to come back in 50 years and see what's happening here. It's unbelievable how we have destroyed this beautiful planet, you know. Yeah, so I'm pretty fearless. The only thing that would scare me, I swim a lot in the Pacific Ocean. Like, I can swim, like, 11 miles along the coast on Kauai. I think a shark would scare me.
I think it's a vice versa. You scares shark. Here comes Claudia. But anyway, so what was the reason you wanna try Camino with a bike and on foot? Is there any kind of like a resolution or the hopes that you wanna pray along the way?
Well, I have a couple of prayers. I had to put my kitty to sleep, but she was 18 years old. I feel very blessed. I don't have really any problems that I hope that the divine will help me with. Um, but just the idea, it's a bit of an adventure. I'm open to whatever may come along the way. This is a nice little interlude. And I decided on the biking just to shorten the 120 miles so that after Leon I have more flexibility and don't have to rush. And I'm not coming back. People ask me whether this is my first Camino. Yeah, it's my first and only one. And when you live in Hawaii, there's also destinations to travel to, like New Zealand or Asia. I've been in Laos, Cambodia. I've been in India. I've been in Nepal. I love Nepal. I just love Nepal.
What about Korea?
I have never been to Korea, and it hasn't drawn me. But I don't know enough about Korea. One handicap is the language. I can't even read it. Little alone can I speak it. I lived in Japan one time for 5 months, and I tried so hard to learn the language, but I did not get very far. It's very challenging and difficult. Yeah.
Japanese is one of the difficult language to obtain, so it's not just you, right? So maybe next time, maybe I can see you in Jeonju, where I come from, Jeonju.
Jeonju. Well, email me. Like these are unfamiliar names, so maybe I come to Korea. I'm open to all kinds of possibilities. So, but I like outdoor adventures. I'm single. I don't have a sugar daddy who takes me to sweet places even after an adventure trip. Like I do not stay in resorts. That's not what I like to do. I just like nature.
Maybe when you like the nature, then Jeonju is for you. And we had many mountains around, and we have a 240 kilometers Catholic holy ground, the path, like a Camino like this. And it will go around with the four major cities in Jeollabuk-do province, where that belongs to. And so maybe I will show you around. So just remember Jeonju.
Jeonju. Well, if I invite you back to Kauai,
Sounds good.
sounds good. Jeonju and Kauai.
Exchange things and exchange cultures.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, I don't relate that much to the Hawaiian culture, and the Hawaiian people have sort of a bit of a victim mentality. They're hoping for sovereignty, and they're not really that united, and I think it's illusory because the United States is too embedded in Hawaii, especially on a military basis, and to fend off any kind of intrusion from Asia. Yeah, so and we have really quite a mix of people. We have Chinese, Japanese, Filipinos, Portuguese, Haoles, and there's quite a division between the poor and the affluent, and the local people resent the affluent people. It's a lot of racial tension on Kauai. So if things should get really bad, it would not be a pretty picture.
You mean that's the condition now? That's the current
Now
status?
it's okay, but a lot of first generation Filipino males or mixed people, it's a mix. They're angry, and they're not well educated. A lot of them, they are into a lot of drugs, and they have a victim mentality, and they feel entitled to have a better life, but they're not going after it.
Well, in the Philippines, men are like that too, but the ladies are very hardworking. So they need to learn from them. So it's not a good way to victimize themselves because that's a showing example of being okay with the Filipino ladies. I know them, so they are hardworking. So
Well, I have a Filipino gardener, and he grew up in the Philippines. He's hardworking, and then I have a lady who helps me because I have a vacation rental. Yeah, they're good people, but then the first generation, have a different attitude. And it happens in Europe too. First generation Muslim people and immigrants, they feel victimized. They don't fit in. Wow, 8:30.
that's pretty much everywhere. Like first generation, they are bringing their own identity from their motherland, and then they try to use that like a viewpoint or perspective in a new land. So it's not working. So they need to reset first. Then they will know and what to do and what to follow, and maybe they will be adjusting well, but or assimilate well. But if they continue to hold the first generation mentality, I don't think that's for everywhere. So
No, and I don't know how realistic it is, but a lot of the Muslim countries seem to, or that's at least what's being projected. They want to take over, and they even want to populate, the Western world that they have immigrated to. I don't know whether that's true, but yeah, whatever, that's not really what we need to talk about.
sure. But it's worth it to bring up some part. So thank you for mentioning that. And so when you finish the Santiago, the trail, and do you have any idea what will be on your mind?
No, I have no idea, but I will be grateful. I will be happy. I mean, I challenge myself. Today was not an easy day, and doing the Camino is full of challenges. So I don't compete, but I guess I like to prove things to myself.
Not competing with others, but prove prove oneself.
And test my strengths and my resilience, and hopefully I will not get sick or hurt, and so far so good. So, and I'm grateful that I can do that. I'm coming a long way. It's expensive. It's a huge effort. So I'm doing great.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. I think you are well said, and I think the reason I was interviewing is because I want to learn when I will be like when I'm 78. So I think you are a great example to be independent and still attractive and very charming.
Thank you very much. So, like I have wanted to hike the Camino much earlier, but then I realized I cannot wait any longer. Like now is the time. Yes.
Maybe we meant to be meeting on the road like this. Thank you very much, Claudia. Bless you. Buen camino.
Buen Camino. So thank
Thank you, Claudia.